This episode of Asstown is brought to you by the Happy Home Academy. If you got a home, you want to make it happy. Sweet deal. Bang! The Happy Home Academy has you covered. The Academy's clandestine home evaluation crew will sneak in and out of your property undetected to appraise the contents of your home and grade every room. Later on, you'll get a score, as well as some tips on how to improve it. Worth doing because points, boom! Points mean prizes. So just remember, does it spark joy? Only if it scores points. And I'm excited to announce that later in this episode, the Happy Home Academy will be paying a surprise visit to appraise the home of one lucky Asstown listener. So stay tuned. It could be you.
I made a brand new podcast about Animal Crossing. Now you have downloaded it, or maybe you are streaming. I know I take a while to make each one, but I hope you will agree that they're fun. My name is David Fair and I'm your mayor. Please rate and review this if you care.
Hey, how you doing, asshats? It's your mayor, David Fair here. Thanks for joining me once again, and sorry it's been a while. It's a wonderful spring afternoon and I'm out for a walk in a big field in London with my faithful yet sadly non-existent co-host Fitzgerald. I'll be honest, the walk is more for my benefit than his. It's a lovely day, the sun is shining. The field is teeming with people from all walks of life, from podcasters to YouTubers, even Instagram influencers, all taking in the fresh air. The grass is crisp underfoot and I can see magpies hopping around just on the other side of this fence here. Just truly lovely to be outdoors. Anyway, on with today's episode. In this episode 4 of Asstown, a podcast about Animal Crossing from High Score Club, I'll be talking to my guest mayors about Animal Crossing's seasons and events. Of course, the seasons in Animal Crossing are extra special because they're tied to the real world calendar and change in real time. Speaking of real time, you'll know that every Sunday you can buy turnips from Joan and play the Stalk Market. And I'll be talking to the mayors who got up to their neck in stalks. Anyway, I'll waffle some more about the day I'm having at the end of the show. For now, let's hear the guest mayors talk about their favourite seasons in Animal Crossing, starting with Christenna. Here we go! Fitzgerald? Come here this instant. Fitzgerald! Oh, he's doing a poo.
Spring's probably my favourite season, only because I had no idea that the seasons changed in real time with actual seasons when I started playing the game. And so I started playing it in kind of February after my birthday, I think. So it was still winter. And then like a couple weeks later, the cherry blossom started and it blew my mind. And it's beautiful. And so, yeah, I think that kind of initial amazement that this thing could change was really exciting.
Even after playing every version of Animal Crossing since the GameCube, the changing of the seasons in these games still feels miraculous to me. More than anything, the seasons and the weather that comes with them, changing more or less in tune with the real world outside, in some parts of the world at least, are what helps to make this wild world come to life. From cherry blossom to April showers, spring is an atmospheric season to spend in Animal Crossing. It's also the time when you can experience some of Animal Crossing's most eccentric events. Here are Ed and Charlie talking about Animal Crossing's bizarre version of April Fool's Day.
I read that there was an April Fool's Day event that can happen.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that one too well.
There's a character who pretends to be other characters. They try and trick you. They disguise themselves as other characters on April Fool's Day.
You're not thinking of the film The Thing? It happened during the winter.
That would be a chilling event.
And whichever event it is where Blanca comes, is that April Fool's? And you come and you do things and you get pictures. I like that one. I think she hides or becomes people, or there's something creepy, or there's something where you go around and you can get a picture of all your villagers. So it's quite a good way to do like a clean sweep of everybody in your town. And if you do them all, you get a little picture of her as well.
Are you kind of dressing up as them or something?
I can't. remember. I think it was. I think you have to find her or just go and visit everybody. I remember really enjoying it, and I remember it was nice to know that at the end of the day I'd have like a full collection of pictures. Hence my creepy photo basement.
I can imagine it going one of two ways. One would be where Blanca becomes like the thing, and you have to try and find the real character, and there's two of them arguing, saying, "No, I'm the real."
I have a feeling that maybe is it.
Really? Wow,
Yeah,
that's
possibly.
really quite scary. Or
I've just made that up.
Or it could be that Blanca's just got a really crudely drawn approximation of the person.
And they're like back facing you.
Well, you're just like, well, there's Blanca. Guess I'll play along for a bit.
Yeah, hello.
Ooh, who are you?
I'm going to find out after what it is. I remember that being like one of those things that left an impression of that was good fun.
Here's an amusing idea for you, listener. Isn't Blanca's April Fool's event a bit like John Carpenter's classic 1982 American science fiction horror film, The Thing? An amusing image for sure, and one that I encourage you to bring up at any given opportunity. Just to be clear, on April Fool's Day in New Leaf, Blanca really will enter the house of a random villager and assume their identity. You then need to interrogate both of them to figure out which is the true villager, before incinerating the imposter with a flamethrower. Summer is significant because it's the only season in Animal Crossing in which your villager can get a tan. I am not making this up. Stay outside for 15 minutes without being covered up, and your villager's skin tone will change. This is ironic, because if you were playing Animal Crossing on the GameCube or the Wii, and you wanted to get a tan in the game, you'd have to spend actual daylight hours inside your house playing on your games console, instead of being outside getting a real tan, perhaps by doing sit-ups without your top on, surfing, or attending a nudist barbecue. This is one of several reasons I was known to my peers at university simply as Pale Dave. Anyway, let's hear from Martin and Ho what summer in Animal Crossing means to them.
We were terrible for the marine life in Steamtown, and my wife and I would just, once one of us had determined there was a certain time of day when sharks would appear. I want to say that there's a really rare shark that starts to appear frequently in the summer months maybe. Then we would just spend hours going back and forth and catching these sharks. I think we've determined that you could catch one every 5 minutes at a certain time of the day, so we would make sure that we were out there getting those sharks for all of our projects, for the good of the town, the good of the houses, and the good of our pockets at the end of our Bell account.
But for the bad of the shark population.
Yeah, those sharks, they weren't happy. But, if those sharks want to be happy, they should evolve like the other villagers and start to have anthropomorphized miniature form.
And mortgages.
And mortgages. If you're not going to pay your mortgage,
stay in the sea.
Stay in the sea.
I just love summer. There's lots of bugs to catch. It's really fun. I like going to the tropical island because it's always summer there. And that's really good. You get to swim in the sea. To be fair, winter's really good because you get to make a snowman. And that's really fun. And I like the sound of the feet running on snow. And then the trees are all lit up with nice fairy lights.
Oh yeah, that's a nice touch.
Yeah, it's really nice. And occasionally you can use your net to catch snowflakes. But I really, really like summer. I'm a summer baby. I like it when the animals throw me a nice party for my birthday in the summer. It's really good. So yeah, summer's my favourite, even though I think there's probably a bit less going on in summer than the rest of the months.
Summer is, of course, the season when the insects come out to play, in particular the largest, most unusual and most delicious ones. Naturally, this attracts predators such as Nat, the chameleon who runs the bug-off competition. Like Chip's fishing tournament, this is apparently a brilliant ruse to make plucky mares and villagers do all the legwork in catching them dinner.
I've always do a lot of preparation for bug-off events. I noticed I had a trophy from that in my bedroom, so I was definitely into that.
How did you feel about all of your hard work being eaten, though, as it gets judged?
Yeah, it's shocking, isn't it?
I know I would have taken part in the bug catching thing, but I didn't enjoy it. I remember getting quite cross about it.
Did it as a mandatory
exercise. Know how competitive and how much competitiveness stresses me out.
Yeah.
So that whole thing wasn't a dream.
As the summer leaves start to fade and the long nights begin to draw in, a new season rolls around. But what could it be? In American English, it's known as fall, but we British mayors know it by another name. Here in the UK, we call it autumnum, or autumn, 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 What do we call it, Martin?
Autumn. But only because it's my favourite season in real life. And obviously Animal Crossing is so idyllic that it's kind of autumn is everything that you want autumn to be. Very orange, very wonderful.
Full of mushrooms.
Full of mushrooms.
I love finding mushrooms in Animal Crossing, hoping that they will grow next to my special tree stumps and collecting weird mushroom series furniture. But before all that is Halloween, one of the most elaborate festivals in the Animal Crossing calendar. Remember to start buying your monster masks throughout October to effectively scare your villagers out of lollipops. And finishing off the season is a harvest festival that shares some disconcerting similarities with Thanksgiving, that famous holiday where a turkey cooks a big jambalaya for everyone in town.
I really enjoyed the Thanksgiving. What's that turkey dude called, where you bring in recipes? I loved that.
I'm not sure I remember that one.
Yeah, it was on Thanksgiving, and a turkey chef pops up on the town square, and he says, like, I want to make some jambalaya. What I need is an apple, some salt, a red snapper, and some custard or something, which is a great jambalaya recipe, of course. And some of the items you can kind of have, like on trees or in the sea around town, and then others you have to like trade stuff with other villagers who've got stuff that you wouldn't be able to grow or catch in your town. It's really good.
I think I've missed this whole thing. I'm just looking at a picture of it now.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, it's a really fun one. So I really enjoyed that. I didn't complete it the one year that I played it, so I'm not sure what the final prize is at the end of it. But yeah, I loved it. It was cool. I think you get is it Harvest series?
Yeah, it says you get harvest furniture or a fruit basket.
Yeah, so I think I got a few of the Harvest series pieces of furniture, but I never got the grand prize. That was really fun to play because it's all like recipes and stuff, and he makes cool stuff like different cuisines and things. And I remember one of them had a red snapper and a coconut, and I'd just caught a red snapper and I had a coconut tree, and I was like, yes, I just felt self-sufficient. I don't know, it's like playing Harvest Moon or something. It was really cool.
That's something that's missing, actually. Like a restaurant could be there as one of the buildings in the town, and you could all the time be going out and making use of ingredients or being sent out for certain things. It could be seasonal.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I noticed that some of the mushrooms you can eat, and then you get like a weird little reaction, or your character will like glow or something, which is kind of wild. Yeah, there's some stuff that grows that you only really grow it to sell it, like the mushrooms and the fruit. You can kind of give it people or plant trees, but that's kind of where it ends, especially with all the fish that you catch, and you only catch them to try and put them in the museum and make bladders like you even more. Yeah, a restaurant would be amazing. That would be so cool.
Well, I'll just write to Nintendo and put a feature request in for the next game.
Yeah, I think you should write to Isabel.
I did in fact write to Isabel to suggest this by tweeting at the official UK Animal Crossing account, AC_Isabel. Though the account states that she won't be able to reply to questions, it doesn't say anything about feature requests, so I hope to hear back soon. Now let's move on to comfortably the most wintry of the seasons, winter. If only winter in real life was like winter in Animal Crossing. Winter in Animal Crossing means just the right amount of snow, crunchy underfoot, the trees in December glowing with fairy lights for some lovely non-denominational festivity, and the aurora borealis on a clear sky. Winter in real life means missing your bus stop because the windows have all steamed up and trudging home in the dark. So, let's cradle a hot mug of Brewster's special winter blend and reminisce about those long winter nights.
I have a weird flashback of the noise of walking on snow in Animal Crossing. I imagine it's quite cute. Do all the flowers die, Ring?
No, there are still flowers.
Oh, phew. Do any of the villagers die?
Well, I hope not. Some of those cold, long winters.
Yeah, it'd be like Fargo.
I really liked winter, so I've only played through one winter in the time that I've been playing the game, but I really like that you can make snowmen, and then is it like snowman bingo? Have you played that with them?
I have. It's really odd, isn't it?
Yeah, I really liked that. I don't like any of the items that they give you. They're all awful. They give you like a ski lift and a snow plow, like really cumbersome, massive items that just don't go with any other furniture series. So like the items they give you are absolute trash. But I really enjoy that they sometimes have different personalities depending on how well you make them and stuff, and you can play bingo with them, which is cool.
you can make some really off ones if you're not careful.
Yeah, like real top-heavy, strange personality snowmen.
Whereas I feel like the really well-proportioned ones are really smug.
They are.
Yeah, but then they're so short-lived.
I know, it's not very kind of body positive, is it? Like, oh, sorry, I'm a weird shape. I suck, bye. It's like, come on. Oh, it takes all sorts, Animal Crossing. I got really into the jingle thing. So there was a Santa costume that kept appearing at the Able Sisters, and I just thought it was seasonal clothes like sometimes they have. So it was like Santa boots, trousers, top, hat, and the facial accessory, which was a beard. So I think it was 5 things altogether. So I had the full Santa costume, and then I was like, what do you use it for? And I did do a bit of internet searching and found out that you meet Jingle on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, I can't remember. And then if you're dressed up as him, he gets you to deliver all the presents to the townsfolk instead of him. And it's like this big quest that you can do around Christmas for your townspeople, our villagers. So I'd been chatting to everybody and noticing that everyone's saying like, I want something yellow for Christmas. I'd really like some shoes for Christmas. I'd love a fridge for Christmas. And I've been taking little notes and trying to buy these things for them, actually from the shop. And I didn't know that Jingle, he's like, I've got 10 presents. One of them's yellow, one of them's shoes, one of them's a fridge.
Right.
I've been trying to like give people the stuff that they'd been asking, and they're like, oh, cheers, no, that's okay. So I didn't kind of get it, but then it all kind of synced up when Jingle actually arrived and I was dressed as Santa, and it was really exciting and incredibly satisfying delivering all these nice presents to my friends. It was cool.
Speaking of someone who tried to blunder their way through by just choosing items randomly and hoping that it's going to satisfy their villagers, I'm quite jealous that you had the forethought to just write down what they wanted even before you knew what you're going to be doing.
Ah, yeah. So did you do the Jingle quest too?
I tried it this Christmas and I left it too late and remembered to put the costume on, but I didn't remember to hear from all my villagers what they wanted. I think on a previous year I did actually do it, although I might have cheated by looking up, if it's possible, who wants what.
It's so hard, especially when your like phone is right next to you and you can just kind of look stuff up if you're not quite sure. But it's getting that balance of doing enough that you're really excited and feel gratified when you've completed something. But with the Crazy Red thing, sometimes it's just so deep and specific. At the Brewster thing with the coffees, it's like, how would you ever be able to unlock this? Nobody could. And I think with those, that's when I would allow myself to kind of check online or check a forum or something, because to not do that is madness. Yeah,
it's if it stops becoming fun to be surprised, then I think it's fine to look it up. But otherwise, the fun is in the surprise.
Yeah, as long as you have a good go at it. So yeah, I really, really enjoy the Jingle thing. And I think that's probably because I just managed to kind of get that balance right of figuring enough out. And I didn't realise how much of the thing I'd done. Like when I actually checked what it was all for, I was like, oh my God, I can do this.
New Year's is fun. You get to see all the fireworks going off. You know, that ties in with an actual celebration in real life, and we like to do New Year's parties.
I think that's one of the things that makes Animal Crossing so special, but also tricky, because the way that it times real life events with in-game events means that actually on lots of those occasions you might miss it. But I suppose it's also nice because if for some reason you aren't celebrating, you can still go and celebrate it in Animal Crossing.
Yeah, you know, Christmas is pretty dull, so, you know, doing a winter festival in Animal Crossing feels pretty good.
It does, that's true, because something to do
on
that lazy afternoon.
Then, after the festivities fade, it's time to do it all again as the new year begins. Hey, did you know there's special music just for New Year's Day? You're listening to it right now. Before we move on though, there are some special events that aren't seasonal. Birthdays, for instance.
I like my birthday. Was that wrong to say?
No.
I like my birthday. But the problem with that is it then makes me feel like I have to make sure I'm at their birthdays too. Generally, when I'm actively playing, I'm a good birthday attendee. If, like for this podcast, I've dipped back in for a couple seconds to check something or to remind myself of something in the game, then I'm a bad birthday attendee. I feel terrible because they're so good to you on your birthday. Another thing of how it makes you feel like, oh, this is just like real life. You know, I'm not going to go out for my birthday. I'm going to spend it in Animal Crossing. where all my real friends are. Thanks for the cake, guys. Glad you appreciate the mayor.
Finally, there's a weekly event of sorts, your opportunity to risk it all and win big on the stock market. I'm sorry, it says here Stalk Market. Who writes this stuff?
The person that sells the stalks, Mark. Stalk, what are they? Onions? Turnips?
Turnips.
Turnips, of
Yeah.
course. The lady that sells those, what is she? A pig? A warthog?
Yes.
I don't remember her name. I'm guessing it's Pamela? Stalky? Turnipifer?
Her name was...
Nippy. Turniper Aniston.
Joan.
Oh, Joan.
Joan, a brown boar.
Her last name is...
So she is a brown boar.
Oh, sorry, I think I meant her name. Her whole name is, hi, I'm Joan. Joan a brown boar.
I think I bought some turnips off her once and then tried to eat them or like sell them and maybe they went off or something and I just never talked to her again. It's like her and Sahara, they just pop up and I'm like, I don't need any new carpets. I don't want any of your smelly turnips.
Yeah, the carpets thing, I think it's one of the least interesting systems in the game, but Stalk Market's intriguing. I'm not daring enough to try and win big on it.
Well, I've just got 50k bells in interest from not playing it for 3 months, so I've got money to burn down at the pier. Bingo. Right, I'm going to do that. It's Sunday as well. Oh my God. What am I doing talking to you?
How did you slip into the Stalk Market and
Did
did you manage to master it?
I don't think I ever managed to master it. I tried it. I never made massive profits on it, I don't think. But probably one of the saddest things that I was on a forum, I think, where people were kind of, if they got good prices on the stock market, they were kind of saying, hey, look, I've got a good price today and come visit my village to get some, So I got into that for a while and tried to obsessively go to other people's villages to try and maximise my stock market profits. But in the end, I sort of said, "Oh, this is just daft." But was it every Sunday?
Yeah.
Sunday morning? Yeah, I used to play it a lot on a Sunday, just waiting for it to turn up.
And then your turnips could rot over the next few days and become worthless.
Yeah, that's right. So you had to judge the point.
Yeah.
So that's why I was on this forum. So someone, I've got, great price, and you go over there. Finally, I'll offload these damn turnips. And then you get a load of bells. That was the only way to make serious dough, I think, on the game. Like hundreds of thousands of bells.
Yeah, I just never quite had the guts to do it because everything's so hard earned otherwise that you don't want to lose tens of thousands of bells.
I never gambled that much. I came out ahead, I think, if I remember correctly, overall. But there are definitely some days where I was looking at financial ruin.
I think the Stalk Market is probably the thing that I got most into, that I was pretty obsessed with. I went as far as to make friends with people on live journal groups, just so that I could visit their towns to sell my turnips. But the problem with that was that most of them were American. It'd be weird times at weekends and that sort of thing. I went as far as looking up tutorials on like how to keep your red turnips from going bad and when the best time to sell them was. And I miss doing that, but I'm just never up early enough to catch Joan to buy turnips from her.
Why, did she only around for the morning or something?
Yeah, she was only around on Sunday mornings, and white turnips would go bad, so you'd have to sell them by the end of the week to make your money back. So that was pretty difficult. I think red turnips you could keep by burying them in the ground or something like that and getting them back out of the ground when the time was right. But I think Joni's only about up until 11 o'clock in the mornings, and I sleep in late at weekends. That was always a big problem.
Very deep into the stock market every time I play. Mm-hmm. For me, the key day is Tuesday. Tuesday is the day that I think that, well, if we haven't made a profit by this point, we sell at the next available profit, even if it's negligible. That's my stock market tip. Obviously, in the original game, I was leaving turnips on tables all over the place. My cheating turnip stockpile, very high. Somebody told me about the turnip exploit.
So what is this for people who don't know?
No, my memory of
Like
it
me.
is in the original Animal Crossing, in the GameCube Animal Crossing rather, there's a way to make sure that your turnips don't rot, and that is to put them on a table in your house.
Ah.
So by doing this, somehow there's some kind of, it's obviously an exploit. Let's try and legitimize it. There's kind of a healing aura about being on a table in your house, and it makes them fresh forever.
Well, it's like people have those wooden chopping boards because they're supposed to contain, natural antibacterial properties. It's probably something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, that's how you could stockpile a lot of turnips.
Great.
If you weren't making a profit, and then sell them the first time a mega profit rolls around.
So big tip there for anyone playing the GameCube version of
Yes.
Animal Crossing.
I really didn't enjoy myself. I find the issue is because my interest in Animal Crossing goes in like peaks and troughs. It's really easy to be like, oh, I'm going to get super into this. Oh no, I forgot, and now it's all gone terribly wrong.
Yeah, you really don't want to have a very brief dalliance with the Stalk Market, and then a week goes by and you haven't sold them and everything's rotted. I mean,
exactly,
that's a disaster.
So I think I did it once and then got so cross at my inability to remember that I'd started. I was like, I'm just safer sticking to account interest and picking up things.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you end up having to put real life reminders to yourself to do things in Animal Crossing.
I've not quite got to the point where I've ever put an Animal Crossing reminder on my phone.
Right, no, me neither. This episode of Ask Town is brought to you by the Happy Home Academy. And, as I mentioned at the start of the show, I'm excited to reveal that the Happy Home crew have authorised me to appraise the home of one lucky Ask Town listener. And in fact, I'm in the home of that lucky listener right now. It's 6 a.m, so while he's asleep, I'll appraise the contents of his flat and send the results off to the Academy for analysis. So just moving down here and into the lounge. Okay, let's see. Well, there's a really nice set of matching furniture here in the lounge. Decent positioning, but a shame the wallpaper doesn't match the series. And back here I'm getting a really lush feeling from all the plants. This rubber tree gives the room a nice feel. He can expect some extra points for that. Okay. Now, moving on to this room at the back.
What the hell, man?
Oh!
Get out of here!
I'm so sorry. You must be Greg.
Who?
Greg, you're an Ask Town listener, right? I'm sorry, I didn't know anyone was...
I'm a what? Look, get out of my flat right now or I'm calling the police.
Oh, no, listen, look, there's been a misunderstanding. You're definitely not Greg. I'm David Thayer, the Mayor of Ask Town, a podcast about...
But I don't care if you're the bleeding pearly king of Peckham. What the hell are you doing in my flat?
I'm just going room to room appraising your belongings so the Happy Home Academy can give you a score.
You're scoping the joint so you can steal my stuff and score?
No, the Academy's a legit operation, right? Owned by Mr. Nook. He's a raccoon. But actually, it's really Lyle. He's this otter, you see. He sends a crew into your home overnight. It's very professional. You never know they've been. And then they send a letter afterwards.
So, this Mr. Crook wants to send an otter into my home to rifle through my stuff. Are you high?
No, absolutely not. No, I just...
Hello? Police?
Oh.
Yes, thanks. I'd like to report an attempted burglary.
No.
Yes. Actually, the burglar's still here. I think he's on drugs, and he's carrying a weapon.
No, this is just a microphone. It's just a microphone. See, look. Anyway, as I was saying, they appraise your stuff, they give you a rating, and they send you a certificate, or a statue, maybe, anyway. I'm not really sure.
Look, just get out now, mate. Please.
But it's for a podcast?
Just get out.
So, Charlie, before we begin, I don't know how to say this. There's been a bit of a rumour going around town that you're kind of a bell pincher.
Oh.
Can you say anything about this?
Well, that's not... I have nice things, but I've worked hard for them. Very hard.
Okay. So you deny these rumours?
Yes.
Okay, good. From High School Club, I'm your Mayor, David Thayer, and this is Time Capsule, a part of the show where we visit the lost town of one of our guest mayors. In this episode, it's Charlie. Charlie, thank you very much for joining me today.
A pleasure.
Can we have a look around your town, please?
Yeah, of course.
So what's your town called?
My town is called Rosewish. My primary memories of the first game were just a really nice place, and I was trying to just genuinely create an unironic nice place. And I liked roses, and I was trying to think of something to go on the end. And Roseton sounded a bit weird, so I just kept going and ended up with something that was probably more embarrassing. Right, I'm going to head in. Originally I was only going to have roses. I was going to have like one type of fruit and one type of flower, but it didn't work out.
So when was the last time you visited?
I know I played when they did the update to add amiibos, but I didn't. I literally kind of just had a look around, played with some cards, and then I think left. But she's not telling me, I thought you were dead. So it must have been more recently than I thought.
I also think that New Leaf is a bit more forgiving, and like it doesn't
really guilt you.
Not in the same way that the older ones did.
Oh, no, she's doing it. It's been forever since you were last here. Oh, you did do a good job while I was away. Okay, I'm in. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Who's this?
Rossetti's here. I'm guessing the last time I played my battery died.
Mm-hmm. That's your excuse, is it?
I genuinely think that's... I do take it really, really seriously. You know,
So does Rossetti.
I'm going to tell him my batteries died.
What's he saying?
Really? Batteries? They just went kaput on you, huh? Do us both a favour. Try to keep them charged. Keep an eye on them at all times, okay? A little request from me to you. Yeah, see you around. Good. That is much nicer than the old way of doing things.
Well, I bet you if you did it again...
He'd be like, I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
And he didn't destroy my Lily of the Valley, which I appreciate.
Can you remember the villagers that you particularly liked, people you had closer relationships with in the village?
I had quite a lot of goats. I had one specific villager who I had a very strong connection with, who's no longer with us, unfortunately.
They died.
It was right at the beginning when I was playing every day, maybe 3 times a day. And then for some reason I didn't play for a week. And I was like, nothing bad will have happened. It'll be fine. And I went on, and the one person who was gone was Ricky, the squirrel.
How did he pass away?
I really hope he didn't die. It felt like he died. You know, when you have that patch of ground for the first time and you kind of go, I really screwed up here. I didn't beg you to stay when I had the chance, and now you're gone. So I built a climbing frame over the ground his house was on, so nobody else could ever live there, because I have quite a structured town.
That's what he would have wanted.
It is, and I think his picture's in my basement.
You got a picture before we left.
I think I did.
So you haven't got any letters from people saying goodbye, which is quite impressive.
I find that if you leave it, people tend to not go, right? Like, it will be one person at a time who leaves in a block.
Usually there's at least someone new has turned up in the meantime.
I have a very structured town. It's quite hard for people to leave.
Well, that's interesting.
And
okay.
I go to great lengths to make sure I don't like change, which is one of the reasons I like control, which is why I like Animal Crossing. Now it gets a little bit sinister. I like control. I don't like people to leave. My friend takes it to extremes, so she created her perfect village, bought hundreds of amiibo cards to get the amiibo cards for the residents she likes, and now if anybody tries to leave, she just calls them back and they can never go.
Ultimate
and it's like
power.
some kind of awful limbo for these residents.
So given the amount of control that you've put into the town, can you therefore remember a lot about it? So you can remember your...
I can remember the layout pretty well.
Okay.
I know where houses should be. I've put pathways in for my town, so everything is... this is Ed's house, which he refuses to go into, and his mailbox is consistently jiggling.
Ed is...
my boyfriend,
okay.
who hates this game with a passion.
How much has he played it?
For maybe 10 minutes, but when it first came out, he had to listen to the music for about 2 weeks. Oh, somebody new is coming. He had to listen to the music kind of just on repeat for weeks and weeks. I refused to turn it down because I was like, it's atmosphere, leave me alone.
It's very atmospheric, yeah.
And it made him just be completely resistant to ever joining in. And this new person is Tia. I do not know who Tia is. But as you can see, because I've got this system, there are only certain places that people can go.
So already what I'm seeing is the most ornately organised town I've seen in person. So
oh, really?
You've got the walkways between your buildings, paths, but then everything which isn't a path is flowers and trees.
Pretty
as far
much.
As I can see.
Yeah, I often have to pick up flowers in order to shake trees.
Wow.
I started a breeding program for more rare flowers, which I put up here. Oh God, a weed. I'm not having that.
And to be frank, there's not a lot of room for weeds to grow.
Yep.
So.
And I tried to stick to the paths because I heard a rumour about grass wearing out. I'm not having that.
I've also heard that rumour. I've never seen any evidence of it.
Yeah, me neither. There is grass that is worn out, but it seems to always be worn out.
Would you mind taking us back to your house and
Of
give us a
course.
little tour?
Absolutely.
I'm already picturing that your house is not going to be one room
No.
full of random things.
It's kind of chaotic. I always start with Animal Crossing. I try to have a theme in each room, get it all nice, but then you start to collect things and you want to put them all out, and it does start to get a little bit more collection driven than set driven. This room I generally try to keep quite neat. So there's sort of a floral theme. There's some balloons. some bears. I think I was trying to do the collection thing for points. I've got a collection of cats.
Yep, 3 lucky cats.
And an ice cream lamp, which I rather like. A rainbow.
A grass floor as well with flowers in it.
Just kind of a nice place. But as you can see, there's kind of like a gnome and stuff like that that doesn't really go. It's there.
Yeah, but it's not chaotic. I'd say that's accessorised.
I feel like this is the room where you go, welcome to my house. This is how I live. Everything is fine. Would you like me to take you into another room?
Yeah.
Do you want to go left, right?
Let's go
back?
right to start with.
This was me trying to collect, I think, quite a deluxe set that isn't actually that attractive. So this is kind of like a blue princess theme, I think, or kind of a Rococo theme. It's also where I keep a lot of the mannequins that you get given. And I try to keep set outfits on there too. I also have a crown, which I'm quite proud of.
That's all mayors should do.
So that's this room. This room's pretty empty. I was trying to keep it specifically for sets.
And speaking of crowns, what's your theme for your character?
So this is from an amiibo card. This is Pom Pom Purin. So this is actually a Sanrio outfit. It's also good because this hair is a wig, so it covers my bed head.
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Because it really looked like Pom Purin to me, and I thought, is that a coincidence or is this intentional?
Yeah, that's from a... So normally I would tend to wear... I normally wear a little Sailor Moon outfit. But at the minute, it just looks like somebody who's gone to bed in fancy dress.
So that Sailor Moon outfit, that's a custom design. Did you make that yourself?
No, I did not. I got that off a QR code. I found some really good... There's a couple I made myself. So that's a more wonky version of a dress I own. But I'm going to cover up that bed head. How long does it take? How long will I need to have bed head for? Is that me forever?
You need to go to Shampoodle.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't just shake it out in the wind or something?
No.
Oh, for goodness sake. Right, well, I'll keep this wig up. So that's the room on the right. So I sidle my way around the collectibles.
How does the HHA rate your home?
I think quite poorly. I remember getting quite irritated because I really tried, but I'm... Oh, hello. Pashmina, one of my residents, has decided she wants to come for a visit.
How embarrassing.
She doesn't really have any business or anything. She's just in the area and she thought she'd pop in. I hate it when they come round.
Right.
Unannounced.
I mean, you're lucky your house isn't full of cockroaches, which is surprising.
Yeah, that's true. I've never had cockroach. I think, doesn't the perk prevent you ever getting them?
Oh, right, that's connected to the...
yeah, I think, because I like things to be nice, but I'm quite lazy. So I think from day one, I think at the start maybe I had it on the night thing.
Yeah, that's the one that I always have.
Yeah, but I just didn't want cockroaches. I remember I hate the when they're surprised.
Yes, yeah.
I really hate that noise, and I do everything I can to avoid ever hearing that noise. I also find people are very rude when they come to your house.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Even with the simplest furniture, the personality of the homeowner always shines through. This is not simple furniture.
Yeah.
Can you go? How do I tell you to... Okay, you brought me a present. Diner tile. Great. Not into that. Again, stuff gets dusty really quick if you don't keep up with the cleaning. She's just being rude.
Do you think this is like a passive-aggressive thing because you've been away so long?
Possibly.
She's come back and...
I'm going to ignore her and go in here because I think she's being rude. I think in each room I try to have a collection of 3 or something. I think at some point that was an aim I was trying to achieve.
I like the way that it doesn't matter what the core theme is, there's always something else interesting going on in the room as well.
I like there to be something you can play with, or a lot of the rooms have birds in as well, so if I were to turn the volume and you could hear like bird song, I think a couple of rooms have little birds in cages, which is nice. Lovely. And I'm gonna take you upstairs.
Oh yeah. So you've got a back room, 2 side rooms,
upstairs and a basement. Yeah. So this room was this took a long time. Yeah, and this is Ricky. So Ricky's picture goes up by my bed because he's the most special. He's my special villager who's unfortunately no longer with us.
Because he's moved.
Because he's moved and he's not dead.
Yeah.
I do have his amiibo card, so he will be making a return. I also remember I have this clamshell that I remember being really proud of. I think it does something. I can't remember. I think there's a music box inside it. And yeah, this is very like pink and white Rococo. Again, I think this is a full set that I was trying to get.
It's much easier on the eye though, isn't it? It's actually quite calming.
Exactly, yeah. I prefer the more... I think this was always my favourite room. I think I tried to do a Sleeping Beauty thing with like a rose and a spinning wheel as well. And I've got a little letter set with a like a wax stamp and a little typewriter. So I'm assuming this is where I write all of my like mayor correspondence. I like to work from home.
It does look like the private suite of a royal somewhere.
Yeah. I think my town, it's more of a monarchy than a mayor system. So that's another lovely room.
So can I guess that your basement is going to be a different theme to these?
Initially, my basement was a storeroom. It was before they introduced the storage locker. So it was kind of a dumping ground. The basement is not a fun place. From memory, the basement then became quite sinister. Yes. Yeah. So this is where I keep my collection of pictures.
Right.
And also, I think, some money.
It's not too sinister. I suppose it's sinister because these are all forgotten villagers who've moved away.
Some of them are still in my town.
Oh, okay.
I hope they are. These goats, I think, are here.
And what's your strategy with the goats? I mean, how do you encourage goats to stay and other characters to leave?
It wasn't. It was kind of just a natural thing. Well, one day I was like, oh, I've ended up with quite a lot of goats living here.
Okay.
Worryingly, I think at one point they were all living in the same place, and that made me feel a bit uncomfortable.
As in, like the same little area of the town?
Yeah, like a sort of a goat suburb, and I kind of want people to spread out. I was worried it would look enforced. So we're now outside, and this is my house from the front. So I think it's kind of like large, and it's got the mermaid theme on it.
Yeah, it's very consistent.
Yep, and I've got the special flowers from, I think the snowdrop, the lily of the valley flowers are from having a perfect town. And if you have a perfect town for long enough, one will grow somewhere.
Wow.
So I collected them, and I tried to decorate the front of houses with them, but they were quite hard to get. So I think I only did player houses. So I like to stick to the paths, because I like to run.
Ah, okay. This is your solution for running.
Yeah, but I tend to only run on double width paths like this. This is like an A road. This is like a back street.
I see, right. So I'm assuming you've got some good public works. I can see there's a well there.
A wishing well.
What's your most prized public work?
It's not much. I really like this, another snowdrop, good. I really like this bench because I imagined that if you lived here, you'd have a really good view because it's kind of on the cliff top. And I think that was also one of the first ones I built. And I really did try to like place everything in places where I thought they would provide like benefits to my residents. I thought having a bench on a cliff top would be quite nice. I think I've got a windmill somewhere that I'm quite proud of. Oh, this is my town hall. So I've gone for sort of a pink and blue Taj Mahal style domed affair.
Yeah.
It's also my lovely flag, which is just a big old rose with a kind of lavender border. One of the nice things about having these roads is you do kind of remember where everything is. I've got a nice log fire for, fishing, camping, that kind of thing. I think this was supposed to be sort of like a sculpture art garden.
Oh, yeah. So you've got one of those modernist black cubes that's rotating.
And then I've got sort of a mossy stone.
And lots of bamboo, the bamboo grove. I see. Right, you've themed it.
Yeah, and again, this is kind of hemmed in, so it can't really spread beyond a point. It struggles around here. So, because how the bamboo can just go and go and go.
I've not planted bamboo.
It spreads of its own accord, so if you can see, there's all these little dead things. So basically, after a couple of days, they leave like little marks to dig up. If you dig them up, you get bamboo shoots. It's like the equivalent of fruit.
Right.
If you leave them, they sprout. But they have to have space around them. So I kind of designed this very carefully so it can't spread beyond a certain point because you can end up with an infestation quite quickly. It's a little bit of smart design there. Oh, I also like this flower clock. This is also, I remember, very symmetrical. So this kind of goes, so I've got sort of like a gridded beds.
Yeah.
So we've got sort of flowers and then the fountain and the clock and another fountain. So there's kind of symmetry as well with the lamppost.
So it feels like a town square, like a town town garden.
I wanted to create, so this up here kind of leads into all the more like municipal public areas. So I wanted it to feel a bit more kind of regimented, planned. Your mayor's actually doing something for you. It's also near the campsites. It leaves a good impression.
This mayor's done a lot for their town, I'd say.
Oh, good. I always worry that it's not enough.
Oh, and on the public works, how strategic were you with those? Did you try and encourage or try and find villagers who would give you requests for things that you wanted to make?
Kind of pig-headedly just did my own thing. I think at the start I was open to like build a bench, yeah, fine. But as I've gone along, I've kind of gone, that doesn't suit me, so no. I'm quite cautious. I've also found recently that the projects are just too big. This is my least favourite villager of all time, and she will not leave my town centre no matter what I do.
Who is it?
She's a horse called Annalise, and she's very rude and very passive aggressive.
Really?
And she moved in next to me, which was where I was planning on building Ed's house, and then refused to move or leave, and just stuck around. Every other villager, I'm thinking of leaving. It took months to get rid of her.
That's quite often the way.
Yeah, so I've not warmed to her.
Your town centre, Could you just take us through your shops?
So I've got the Emporium, which is the big main nook shopping thing. And then this is the jazziest floor. This is old Gracie.
Gracie Grace.
Which is kind of convenient, and there's a lot of incredibly expensive stuff.
Yeah.
We were judged quite harshly for even looking at it.
I always remember Gracie Grace from Let's Go to the City. And just never really buying anything from in there. But just having it is amazing.
Yeah, see again, you're looking at this dress. This item's in pretty high demand. I wonder if you're worthy of it.
Well, I mean, this is the thing about Gracie though. Don't you have to pass some kind of test in
you
order?
have to do like a fashion... I mean, I am going to buy that.
Just to prove her wrong.
Yeah,
That's
how she makes her money, just going, oh. So that's kind of, that's the store.
Yeah, it's really cool. Did you ever just buy everything on sale just to try and pump up the amount of money you're spending?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's one of the issues I found with Animal Crossing originally is when you hit that point where you're at like stuff saturation and every drawer is full and you're like, oh God, I need to get rid of this, but what if it's useful one day? So I do quite like now that they've introduced the lockup and stuff like that. It makes...
great.
Well, the first thing I did when I updated the game was declutter the house, because at one point you couldn't walk into the rooms, which was incredibly frustrating. So that's my department store. I don't remember much about the museum.
Well, I'm interested in your special collections upstairs.
I've clearly just made a room full of hats.
That seems perfectly legit.
Yeah, so I think this was originally how I got around the stuff problem. So I think this is a you know how like the V&A do like an exhibition of Princess Diana's gowns. This is an exhibition of
the Mayor's wardrobe.
The Mayor's wardrobe. You're all very welcome to have a look. I remember for a while I was trying to get lots of fancy hats. So I've got a couple of the like Pikmin. I've got Pikmin hat and a little Toad hat and things. I'd completely forgotten I had all this stuff up here. It's worrying to see what I prioritise. Got a couple of horrible little gyroids up there.
This is feeling more like one of those museums that's a personal collection of someone from a Victorian who went travelling a lot and collected a lot of items.
Or when people say it's a museum and it's just their house with some things in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's clearly just somebody trying to offload all of their junk. I feel quite guilty that I've just repurposed the museum into some kind of dumping ground.
In the end, isn't that what museums are?
It seems suitable. In real life, I think I hoard clothes in a similar way, so I guess it works.
It's probably lucky that you don't also administer a public museum.
Yeah, that's true. Welcome to this collection of turtlenecks from H&M. Well, that's disappointing. I know that the stuff that kind of comes to the square that comes and goes, I was always less good at catching. I've got a couple of paintings, I think, but I don't think I've got many.
I think it's just really, really hard to actually
do. Because you have to spot the one that's not fake, right?
And unless you're familiar with the original, sometimes it's really hard.
Yeah. Oh no, I've done some.
Yeah, you've got a few. You've got a statue and then a few small paintings.
I remember that some of these, I studied that painting. Like quite a few of these I was really familiar with, so it was a lot easier.
Life?
Yeah, so it was a lot easier to pick out. It was always quite embarrassing because you find yourself in a position where you can't remember who painted it, but you know which one's right.
I feel pretty proud if I could do that.
It's worrying that knowledge gets put to use in Animal Crossing.
We should probably close the time capsule quite soon.
Yeah.
But maybe you'd like to just go and seek out a villager who might be at home or someone you remember from before that you might like to visit.
Oh!
What? What's happening?
So Dizzy the elephant is moving to a new town on the 8th of next month. Unfortunately, Dizzy, you are not moving. Because I love you. There are certain people who I think he is like a Generation 1 villager.
Right.
And I am trying really hard to have somebody who's been around since the start.
Someone who remembers.
Yeah, who remembers what it was like, the things I have done.
Apt for an elephant.
Unfortunately, I think everybody is out.
I suppose the new villagers might just turn up thinking, oh, it's always been like this.
And he'll go, no, she's done a lot.
I remember when the department store was just a small
Shack,
yeah.
I remember when you could walk anywhere.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think everybody is out.
All right.
I'm so sorry.
Let's wrap it up there.
All right.
Thank you very much for showing us around.
No, it was really, really nice to go back. Thank you.
Immaculately planned paths, rare flowers, and a modernist memorial to a departed villager. You too can visit the lost town of Rosewish by using your Dream Suite. Just go to highscoreclub.com and click on Asstown to find Charlie's dream address in the show notes for episode 4. You'll also find a link to Charlie's Instagram, where you can see her sense of style extends well beyond her villager in Animal Crossing. We've just got time for your letters now. On the subject of seasonal events, long-time listener Janice writes, "My favourite has always been April Fool's Day. I remember how hard I used to try to collect framed pictures of all my villagers, and how exciting it was to find out that I could get them all on April the 1st if I could only guess the special facts of their individual lives, such as their birth order, amongst siblings, dream jobs, special talents, and favourite sayings. Meanwhile, Blanca the faceless cat tried her best to impersonate each villager. It freaked me out to see 2 Grouchos or 2 Robins arguing with each other about their identity. I'm sure it did, Janice, especially if you had to burn one of them afterwards." She also adds, "Please keep on making Asstown. It makes me so happy." Thank you, Janice. It means a lot to know people are enjoying the show. And she could have left it at that. But then she asks if there's any truth to the rumour that I'm a real tree shaker. Now, I don't know how word has got around about this, but let's nip it in the bud right now. That furniture was lying under the tree when I just happened to find it, and also, bees keep following me around because I just smell very floral, okay? But thank you, Janice, and please do keep writing in.
Hey, welcome back, Asshats. Thanks so much to Charlie for opening up her time capsule and showing us around Rosewish. And thanks very much too to all the other guest mayors for appearing in the show. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks also to everyone who stayed subscribed to the podcast during the long break. There'll definitely be 2 more episodes, and then we'll see what happens after that. And don't forget, if you're part of any Animal Crossing communities online, please do spread the word about the show to other Animal Crossing fans. Next episode, we'll be talking about the collections, towns and hidden systems that lie under the surface of Animal Crossing. I'd also like to hear your theories about luck in Animal Crossing. What are the worst things that have happened to you while you're playing the game? Tweet at highscoreclub or email asstown@highscoreclub.com with your stories. Well, that's about enough waffle from me. And them. It's still a wonderful evening out here in the field, watching the sun set over the deer in the distance with Fitzgerald here by my side. Fitzgerald? Oh, where's he got to? Oh, Jesus Christ, the deer! Fitzgerald? Fitzgerald! Oh, the deer! Fitzgerald! Jesus Christ. Fitzgerald!
Asstown is produced by me, David Thayer, for High Score Club. The Buxton-esque intro music for this episode was produced by Christopher Alcock, who also composed and performed the Asstown theme song, Mayor in an Empty Town. My apologies to Dan Train for taking him by surprise. Dan appears courtesy of the Salad Cast. Huge thanks to my guest mayors Charlie Jameson, Ed White, Ho-Yi Lee, Christina Pajinski, Martin Steenton and Timothy Winchester. To find out more about these wonderful mayors, including the dream addresses so you can snoop around their towns, please visit highscoreclub.com. High Score Club is a little video game club for good games and equally good people. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr and Twitch. Asstown is not even slightly affiliated with Nintendo.
Fitzgerald.
Stupid things we used to say. We're sending letters every day. Treasured by villagers like a prize to share with men.